Coaching is about growth, but it is not always a smooth ride. There will be times where you face clients who seem resistant, stuck, or just really challenging. And they might not seem ready to change, or they might be overwhelmed by their own obstacles. And as the coach, it's easy to fall into frustration, trust me, especially when progress seems slow or non-existent. And this can really leak into your coaching by negatively impacting what you say and how you say it and how you even feel on the call. And instead of trying to work harder or push the client or silently give up, the best coaches know that it's not always about making the client better instantly. It's about you becoming a better coach in these situations. And the key to a productive and a positive experience with a challenging client lies in 3 core strategies that I'm going to break down for you today. We're diving right in today. So let's start with number 1, clear boundaries. From the very beginning, it is crucial to establish what is expected from both the coach and the client and review them whenever necessary. Sometimes it takes more than one conversation, especially in the beginning when there's a lot of information. And what this includes is the structure of sessions, discussing time limitations, responsibilities, and what type of support and communication during and in between calls is to be expected. And what I've seen in the past is coaches try to ignore this conversation to be nice and then dive right into the value of the coaching without the proper setup. And what that's going to do is potentially enable a client and keep them stuck and keep you frustrated. And to show you what this might sound or look like, maybe you've had a client text you at 11 p.m. at night with questions, or maybe they try to extend sessions for extra time, and you stay on thinking it's going to help them. But in the long run, this only keeps the client in a state of uncertainty and need and desperation. And you end up frustrated, they end up feeling stuck and frustrated, and nobody benefits. And the more clear you are from the beginning about your availability, about the expectations, about the structure, the less likely it's going to become an issue. So just nip it in the bud. Remember, you're not being rigid, you're not being rude, you are providing a container, and it's your responsibility to set the tone for growth. Okay. And boundaries protect relationships, and they help clients know where the edges are. And it encourages them to take responsibility for their own progress in that space. Here's tip number 2 when you're working with frustrating clients. You want to stay solution focused. Patience is so important in general in the coaching process, but especially for these types of clients. Because if you feel stuck as a coach, imagine how they feel, okay? It is a hard place to be in, so try not to get in the mud with them. Even if they're feeling defeat and overwhelmed, you have to stay above that. And ensure your reflections, your questions, and your reframes move the conversation forward and guide the conversation towards actionable steps, even if they're small and even if they're slow. So let me share a case example. I had a client once who felt paralyzed by how big their goal was. So initially they came in with readiness and desire and clarity on what they wanted, but it felt impossible, especially because they had been trying to achieve it on their own for a long time. Now, during sessions, what would happen, especially in the beginning, is they would say they wanted to work on it and they wanted skills and tips and tools to get started, but they would easily get overwhelmed and slip into premature defeat. And it was easy for me to get frustrated because I was like, this is what you wanted, and start questioning if we were making any real progress and debating if they were coachable. But I had to stay patient. And when I did, and we continued to break things down into small, actionable steps, and we started celebrating wins and focusing on the progress versus the achievement, and focusing on what we could do right now and just taking the next best step over and over again, eventually that snowball effect started to kick in, also known as the compound effect. And yes, it did take time, and it wasn't some giant amazing breakthrough that happened in one session, even though that's what a lot of people want and expect, and it's unrealistic. We needed to actually peel back the layers and take time to create direction and build momentum and create a plan that was sustainable. Remember, your role as a coach in these moments is to keep asking questions to help the client move forward, even if the steps are tiny and even if the progress is slow. And then my third tip for you today for these individuals is to foster responsibility. Sometimes clients are resistant, not because they're being difficult, it's because they don't believe they're in control of their outcome. And so they feel disempowered and they feel helpless. And as the coach, you want to help them notice where they might have influence. even though it's not control and it might not even be over the external circumstances, where if they can shift something, it might positively impact the end outcome. So what that looks like for you as the coach is to ask questions to have them reflect on their own thoughts and actions to foster ownership. Okay, when a client can take responsibility for their portion of the problem, they can then take responsibility for their portion of the solution. And even though that's confronting, it's also empowering. And that leads to real commitment and momentum towards change. This is how a skilled coach handles a challenging client, with skill, not frustration. The key here is to maintain a positive but professional stance with clear boundaries, staying solution focused, and fostering responsibility for progression and growth. So the next time you feel stuck or frustrated with a client, approach the challenge with skill and care. By the way, I recorded this episode because a student inside of my coach certification program, The Art and Skill of Coaching, asked for help with a client they were working with that was frustrating them. And this is the coaching I gave her. And I share that with you because I'm curious, what are some challenges you're facing as a coach or with your clients? Let me know in the comments so I can record an episode just for you. And if you liked this very quick but tangible episode, definitely hit the subscribe button down here so that you never miss an episode.